This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. I should say under the telescope because we're watching you, Judge Weimer. We are watching you. The community is watching you. We've got the body cams that you sealed. We've got the documents that you sealed. Judge Carol Weimer, the community is watching you. The Department of Justice is watching you, and we're going to hold you accountable by law. It was a miserable attempt to seal off the file for Mustafa Al-Jazari to protect the prosecutor Sarah Sami, that's flat out lying about Mustafa Al-Jazari. And we have the evidence to prove it. This is not my word against her word. I have the body cams. I have the discovery documents that every day we come on this podcast and talk about what she's lying about. Judge Carol Weimer, this is a miserable attempt to protect this prosecutor, protect the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, that under her watch, there is no transparency. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, all over the news, is being sued for $22,000 for violating FOIA. What kind of Commonwealth attorney violates FOIA? Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. What do you have to hide that you're violating FOIA? If anything that we've been tracking about this Commonwealth attorney, anytime you have police misconduct, this Commonwealth attorney, and instead of having accountability, what she does is she goes to a judge and she gets an order to seal off body cams. We've seen this in the Mustafa Al-Jazari file. She went to Judge Carol Weimer and she got a judge order to seal off the whole entire thing. She sealed it off from Mustafa. She sealed it off from the family. She sealed it off from the community. We've seen this in the Tatiana David file. The police murdered Tatiana David, a black woman who they say, according to them, is an abductee. Now, no one's yet have verified that she's actually an abductee. When we sift through the media, we find an individual in Ithaca, New York, that says, I didn't see anything. That's the witness they're relying on. An individual that didn't see anything. Some random white guy that's on the news, he says, I told the police, I thought it was an abductee. Did you see anything? No, he tells you I didn't see anything. The police tell this community that this is an abductee. Who abducted Tatiana David? They say the father of her child, Michael Davis. All right. If we were to run with that narrative, why did you pursue that vehicle? By law, it is illegal for state police in Prince William County to have pursued that vehicle. State police policy, you're supposed to outweigh the risk. Where is the regard for Tatiana Davis' life? They disregarded her life and they pursued that vehicle. I mean, at that point, you can say the chief of police for Prince William County and state police is going to hold that individual who made that call to pursue that vehicle accountable. And you can say you can rectify the situation. That's not what we see here. That's not what we see. Not only did they pursue the vehicle, someone made the call to put 50 bullets, AR-15 bullet, into that vehicle who's supposed to be an abductee. Even then, you can say the chief of police, there's accountability under the chief of police. That he's going to hold that individual that made that call accountable. But that's not what we see in the Tatiana Davis case. Instead, what they've done is they tell the community through the media that we found Tatiana David outside the vehicle with a gunshot wound. And what they're insinuating is that Michael Davis, the father of her 5-year-old child, is the one that put a bullet in her. And they've been telling the community that for 2 years. If you look up Tatiana David today, that's what you'll hear on the news. That the police say that we found her outside the vehicle with a gunshot wound, insinuating that the boyfriend is the one that did it. Now, we have the body cam, and that's not what we see on the body cam. Instead, we see just about 50 bullet hole, AR-15 bullet holes. And you can tell it's an AR-15 bullet hole. The vehicle that's supposed to be an abductee is riddled with bullets. I mean, the more you watch that body cam, the more disturbing it gets. You see state police and Prince William County police rolling that black woman like a pretzel inside that vehicle, and then drag her out from inside the vehicle, drag her outside the vehicle, reposition her somewhere else, only to say that we found her outside the vehicle. This is a cover-up. I mean, it's one thing to say a police officer, whoever is in charge, made the call and pursued the vehicle, even though state policy, you're supposed to outweigh the risk. You can hold whoever is in charge accountable as a chief of police. You put 50 bullets into that vehicle, you can hold that person accountable. But to engage in a cover-up, I mean, at that point, there is no accountability. And instead of holding those individuals that made those calls accountable, our Commonwealth attorney goes to a judge and she gets an order to seal off the body cam, the whole entire file. And for 2 years, they gaslighted the community and they said it's an ongoing investigation. Well, it takes you 5 minutes to watch that body cam and find out that this is a cover-up, that the police murdered this girl in cold blood. And what's more disturbing is what we're finding out, that Michael Davis never had a gun. The police mistook that he had a gun. Put 50 bullets in there, and now they got a situation where, wait a minute, Michael Davis does not have a gun. You can't go to the FBI because it's sealed off at the state level. You got federal, the FBI federal, and then you got state level. Commonwealth attorney is a state level. She got a judge order to seal it off, so now the FBI can't even look into it. The Department of Justice cannot look into it. That's beautiful. I mean, we pretty much went to every agency and tried to give them this body cam. They don't want to touch it. They do not want to touch it. They're like, this is a state level matter, is sealed off. We, as a federal government, we cannot look into it. Well, one way around it is to put it on the internet. To put this clusterfuck on the internet. And have the community put pressure on whoever the fuck is in charge. I mean, we went to a delegate and we all saw a video where in a town hall meeting, I'm telling the delegate, ma'am, I've got a body cam of a black woman that was murdered in cold blood. Can we have you look into it? I mean, if it's not on video, You can't believe the response that I fucking got. It's unbelievable. Everybody's passing the buck. It's not my jurisdiction. It's someone else's jurisdiction. Well, a black woman is murdered in cold blood by the individuals that we trust to protect this community. And there is no accountability. I hear state police has a new chief of police. That's interesting. Why do we have a new chief of police? I think we ought to get to the bottom of why do we have a new chief of police? Does it have anything to do with the body cam that's on the internet of a black woman murdered in cold blood? It's possible. Is this new chief of police? Do we have accountability under him? We'll find out. We will find out. Under Amy Ashworth, anytime you have police misconduct, Amy Ashworth runs to a judge like a blind squirrel, runs to a judge and gets a judge to issue an order to seal off body cam. Mustafa Al-Jazari, every police report is falsified. The dash camera is cut and muted by the police. The vehicle is crushed and staged by the police. Mustafa's statement is falsified on the police report. Every police report that we're running into in Mustafa's file is falsified. What does Commonwealth Amy Ashworth do? She goes to a judge and she gets an order to seal off the body cam. The only attorney that came out and publicly spoke against the jail that beat Mustafa, sexually assaulted Mustafa, denied him medical, this lawyer went publicly and denounced this jail. Look at what happened to this lawyer. What is her crime? For the love of God, someone tell me, what is her crime? Oh, wait a minute. She released the jail officers carrying Mustafa unconscious from one cell into another cell. Oh, the same video that the FBI said does not exist. Special Agent Lindsay Coulter, Special Agent Samantha Adams, Supervisor Huckle, who apparently, to the internal document that we have, apparently, those special agents that were sent to us to investigate this situation, the May 24, 2023 situation, by the Department of Justice, these agents were sent to investigate. Apparently, according to the internal documents, the investigation was closed off in September of 2023. Now, someone, for the love of God, explain to me, why were they communicating with us all the way to February of 2024, pretending that it was an ongoing investigation? So you're telling me that you've got local FBI agent that get involved, close off the investigation, tell the Department of Justice nothing to see here, and lie to the family that this is an ongoing investigation? I mean, we had a meeting in the FBI building in the Manassas field office in February. Inside the building, they called us, they sat down with us. And they were telling us nothing to see here. There is no video, there's nothing. And when we asked them detailed questions about, did you give him medical? We've got a picture of Mustafa's head, all bumpy, bumps all throughout his head. His arms is 3 times the size of a normal arm. Did you x-ray those injuries? When we asked them detailed questions to get to the bottom of the investigation, what have they done since they got involved? They ended the meeting. Supervisor Huckle got frustrated and ended the meeting. I mean, I was supplying the FBI with information from inside the jail about abuse about other inmates. So you're telling me I've got a chain of emails and evidence slips. You know, when you give an FBI agent, they'll give you an evidence slip that they received that piece of evidence. You're telling me every piece of evidence that I supplied you from September 2023 to February 2024, and you said you're running an investigation, is a lie? Well, we're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm sure the Department of Justice under Kash Patel is not okay with local FBI agents that are running rogue. And when I say running rogue, because what we have here in our county is a private jail. This jail doesn't fall under the Department of Corrections. DOC, Department of Correction, does not oversee our county jail. This is a private jail. It's privately funded. And apparently has its own internal leadership. When you go to the governor, Governor Youngkin, is going to refer you to the Department of Corrections. Department of Corrections is what's in charge of jails, prisons, jails. But the Department of Correction, when you contact them and you tell them the government referred me to you, they tell you this is not our jurisdiction. This is a private jail. It's a private entity. You have to go and communicate with something called a jail board. A jail board is a number of members. It's comprised of a number of members, which is the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, the Chief of Police, Peter Newsham, the Superintendent, and the Sheriff. And then the Human Rights Commission, Raul Torres. Now, outside looking in, it looks beautiful. You've got all this authority. 100%, they're going to look into this jail and make sure nothing happened inside this jail. There's nothing wrong that's going to go into this jail. Now, the problem here is every single individual on that jail board have a vested interest to look the other way. The Commonwealth Attorney has two positions in our county. She's a Commonwealth Attorney. Her job is to prosecute individuals. But the problem here is, how could you prosecute individuals and then be in charge of making sure they're safe in our county jail? I mean, the situation that happened out of this is when you have an inmate that's so badly hurt, the Commonwealth Attorney looks the other way because at the end of the day, she wants to give that individual a plea deal. And if they're so badly hurt, they're going to be begging her to take that plea deal. I mean, the condition is set where they're begging her, get me the hell out of here. I'll take whatever plea deal you give me. When you have correctional officers that are violent, that will starve you, that will beat you, that will sexually assault you, that will deny you medical, that will put you in solitary confinement, prolonged solitary confinement, it gets to a point where this Commonwealth is in her best interest for these conditions to continue the way they are. Our Commonwealth Attorney is securing prosecutions. That's how she's securing prosecution. Look into the cases that she's securing prosecutions. There is a conflict of interest. You cannot prosecute an individual at the same time make sure that he's safe inside our county jail. It's just there's a conflict of interest. Every single case that we went to, the Commonwealth Attorney, she looks the other way. The Chief of Police, Peter Newsham. That's another problem. You've got police officers in our county, and not saying every police officer, the majority, we always backpedal. We're not saying every police officer, but in situations where excessive force is used and individuals are beaten up by the police, they take him to a county jail. And then when you have a chief of police on the board and you go up to him and you tell him, this inmate is badly hurt, can we shed light on this inmate, who's, by the way, a pretrial detainee, he had not had his or her day in court, is innocent until proven guilty, is awaiting his trial. The chief of police looks the other way because it's his police officers that committed the crime. They used excessive force. And in every case, he looks the other way. And we have files. We're not just, these are not allegations. We have files on the chief of police. An 18-year-old a year ago was murdered in our county jail because police officers used excessive force, took him to a county jail. 9 days later, this inmate was found unresponsive because a jail officer was fed up from hearing that this 18-year-old needed medical. We have eyes and ears inside of our county jail. I have inmates coming forward, supplying us with information that they saw a correctional officer murder an inmate. We went to the jail board. We told them, jail officer Eric Lindsay murdered an inmate in cold blood. Everybody looked the other way. Sheriff Glenn Hill. These are his jail officers committing the crime in our county jail. And he's looking the other way. We go to Sheriff Glenn Hill. He says, I have a hotel here. I don't have a county jail. He describes his county jail as a hotel. Well, tell me which hotel where a tenant checks in and then checks out unconscious from one room into another room, carried by hotel staff, unconscious, half naked, and the hotel staff are still hitting him. A year ago, when we went to Sheriff Glenn Hill, he says, my jail officers will never do something like this. Well, sir, today we have the CCTV video. It's all over the internet if you bother to look into it, where your jail officers, 6, violently rush into a cell with a taser that's unholstered, only to take out an unconscious Mustafa, a half-naked Mustafa, handcuffed behind his back. He's limped over, airlifted. His feet is not even touching the ground. If you zoom in, his feet is not even touching. He's being airlifted. And one of the correctional officers is seen to be hitting him on the head and kicking him. That's correctional officer Vincent Thompson. The details of this incident is on May 24, what were we doing on the outside that you had 6 giant correctional officers enter Mustafa's cell only to take him out half naked and unconscious? What were we doing on the outside that caused this to happen? This retaliation to happen? We were talking about the investigator that we have evidence that we're going to release to the internet that have falsified Mustafa's statement on the police reports, that falsified the warrant, that took Mustafa's freedom away. He falsified Mustafa's statements. The police report is falsified. The warrant is falsified. And we had the audio to the conversation, where when you read the police report, the statements are falsified. And instead of the police department rectifying the situation, holding that police officer accountable, instead you have 6 giant correctional officers enter Mustafa's cell and attempt to silence him and silence us. I mean, what did they expect out of this situation? Were they going to beat Mustafa to where he's so terrified that the next time he calls us, he's going to tell us, whatever you do, stop talking about my falsified police reports? That's what they wanted. Amy Ashworth. Under Amy Ashworth, there's no accountability. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, every time you have police misconduct, she goes to a judge and she seals off the body cams, the discovery, the whole entire file to protect those corrupt police officers. The community is waking up to that reality. You don't have to take my word for it. Look her up on Inside Nova, and you'll see an article where she's being sued for FOIA, violated FOIA, $22,000. Casey, yes, ma'am.
Where did the officer tell Mustafa that if he asked for medical treatment again, what were they going to do to him?
Mustafa, on that video, you see 6 giant correctional officers take out an unconscious, half-naked Mustafa, and they're still hitting him on the head and kicking him, dragging him down the stair, airlifted, unconscious. They take him, Casey, they take him to another cell where they strip him completely naked, beat him more, sexually assault him, and just before the nurse shows up, Correctional Officer Daniels tells him, he puts his boots on his head, and he tells him, if you ask for medical, we're going to kill you right here. By the way, these injuries, these pictures, are 2 weeks, 2 weeks after this incident. Now, for those that will tell me maybe another inmate beat him up, well, this is a solitary confined inmate. The only person that has access to Mustafa is the correctional officers. So there is no way, there's no way another inmate beat him. You know what I find really disturbing is when we sat down with the FBI in February 2024, they showed us a still image from a CCTV video, and they said that's all there is. Look, your brother is fine. Didn't have a date. Didn't have a timestamp. It's just an image of Mustafa's back view in a hallway. Now, 2 weeks after this incident, we see Mustafa's head all bumpy. Bumps all throughout his head. His arms 3 times the size of a normal arm. By the way, after, when he was beaten up and sexually assaulted on May 2024, we couldn't see him until 2 weeks. And then when we finally saw him, this was his condition. And the FBI didn't think to give him medical. Oh, wait a minute. It's not supposed to be documented. Unfortunately for them, I have all the internal documents inside the jail that show that they were pretending. Every document inside the jail, and they pretend they gave him medical. I mean, at one point, some documents say that we x-rayed this, we x-rayed that. They x-rayed everything except the injured parts. You know how disturbing this is, that I have pictures of his injuries and if they were never x-rayed? I mean, you talk about the FBI got involved. Oh, wait a minute. It is a cover-up. They're covering up for this private jail that makes so much money into our county that is supposed to be protected by the local FBI. I backpedal and I say, I remind this community that when we talk about police misconduct, police officer, jail officers, deputy sheriff, this is not the majority. The majority is doing their job protecting this community. They put their life on the line every single day. Swear an oath to this community. They're from this community. We're talking about individuals, select individuals that we have files on. And we're tracking and we're asking our federal government to look into these individuals. When the local government fail you, you ask for the federal government to step in. And I can promise you, they're going to step in. We have Kash Patel in the DOJ, and under his administration, I promise you, he's going to hold people accountable. But we have to do our job. We, as a community, have to do our job. And I'll tell you, I have a lot of people in our group. And we're all filing every single, these are local individuals. These are individuals from across country that's watching what's coming out from behind closed doors. And people are angry. Because this could be their children. This could be them. I mean, when we talk about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, what is the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Every piece of evidence in this file shows that this is a vehicle accident. The man lost his family in that vehicle. This was his girlfriend. This was her 5-year-old child that he took care of. You don't have to take my word for it. There's a Google Nest inside the apartment. The dash camera shows that this is a vehicle accident. The computer inside the vehicle shows that his foot was on the brake the whole entire time. The police mechanic inspect the vehicle and tell you on a body cam there's brake failure. The vehicle would not stop. The computer inside the vehicle showed that the vehicle dropped from 55 to 35. But the vehicle would not stop. It's a vehicle accident. The man wakes up from a coma, helicopter to the hospital, asking for his family that were tragically lost in this vehicle. What did they do when he wake up? They falsify his statements. You know, I find one of the most disturbing thing in this case is in one of the documents in this file, you find that the paramedic injected him with 50 mcg of fentanyl. Now, some will tell you this is for the pain. Okay, that's fine. Why was Mustafa Al-Jazari interrogated in the hospital after you induced him with 50 mcg of fentanyl? Do you know how much 50 mcg of fentanyl? Do you know what that means to be induced with 50 mcg of fentanyl? You're out of it for 9 hours. That's how strong 50 mcg of fentanyl is. And then what you see on body cams is you have a police officer guarding the door. You have the main investigator screaming at the mother, telling her, you can't see your son. And he already deemed Mustafa guilty. The way he talks to that mother. And then go in and partake in an interrogation while the nurse is identifying herself as law enforcement. Now, if this wasn't on body cam, it's unbelievable. And what do you see? You see a broken Mustafa. He wakes up from a coma. And he's asking about his family. He says, where's my girlfriend? Where's 5-year-old Empress? And they tell him, we're taking care of them. They're okay. What happened, Mustafa? Tell us, Mustafa, the investigator and the nurse. They're sitting over his head or interrogating him. And Mustafa is confused. He keeps asking about his family. He's like, where am I? Where's my family? And for 4 hours, This interrogation continue, and they tell him, "Your family is okay, or they're gonna be okay." What happened, Mustafa? Tell us what happened. And then 4 hours later, the main investigator that was interrogating him in the hospital comes back to the room, only tell Mustafa, "Your family has been dead 4 hours ago." He drops a major bombshell on Mustafa. And you can see the turmoil in Mustafa's reaction. He's broken. He's crying for his family. I mean, when I take a step back and I look at all of it, this investigator, they inject Mustafa with 50 mcg of fentanyl, hoping that Mustafa is out of it. I mean, 50 mcg of fentanyl, you're out of it for 9 hours. And they're hoping, and what they're doing for the body cam is they want to record Mustafa not have a reaction, hoping that they're going to get that he's not going to have a reaction and they want to go to the prosecutor with this body cam that we told Mustafa that he lost his family in the vehicle accident, but he didn't care. He didn't have a reaction. But when they see a broken Mustafa, a Mustafa that's crying for his family, they seal off that body cam, and the main investigator falsified that police report. He says in that police report that Mustafa did not care when we told him that he lost his family in that vehicle. I mean, you're telling me there's a whole entire report that's going to be submitted to the jury during trial that Mustafa did not care when we told him that he lost his family in that vehicle. That's what the jury is going to hear. If it wasn't for us having the body cam, you would be reading the discovery. You would have said, this monster did not care about his family. By the way, nowhere in that discovery it says that they injected Mustafa with 50 mcg of fentanyl. And the police report says that he did not care, did not have a reaction. If it wasn't for us having the body cam, what you rely on is a falsified police report in the discovery. By the way, this is one of the police reports that's falsified. Only one. Every police report in this case is falsified. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I have two other cases that we want to take a deep dive into. An 18-year-old that was shot in the head by police about a couple of months back, where Amy Ashworth doesn't think they did anything wrong. We're going to talk about that case and what that poor mother had to go through dealing with the loss of her son on the hand of those police officers and a Commonwealth attorney that refused to have any kind of accountability. We're going to talk about an 18-year-old that was stabbed in our county jail, where what we're finding out is one of the individuals that did the stabbing is a correctional officer. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into those three cases. We are back, and this is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam, Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. What I tell this community, I'll tell you, I wish the comments doesn't just disappear within like 2 seconds. 1 second. Gotta press. There we go. All right. So, on a side note, the federal judge just followed 918. All right. I can see all the way here. There we go. I think that's good. All right. I gotta hold it. Okay. You know what I should do? I should have another device right here just to read the comments. All right. On a side note, a federal judge just filed a 91-page, I think it was 91, saying that Texas needs to put air condition in their prisons due to death in the summer. That's good. I wish we had more judges here that look into the condition of our county jail. What I tell the community is this. In the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, you have two choices. You can listen to the Commonwealth attorney who tells you, who seals off the dash camera. The dash camera is sealed. The only thing you have out of this dash camera, according to the Commonwealth attorney, is 4 seconds. A chopped up version of a dash camera. She cut 2 seconds from the beginning, halfway through it. She cut 2 seconds toward the end. She pieced them, clipped them together, put them on NBC4, and says, this is the dash camera. The Commonwealth attorney tells you, I'm going to seal off the dash camera. I'm going to seal off the body cams. I'm going to seal off every document in the discovery. And just take my words for it. She just wants you to take her words for it because she's the Commonwealth attorney. Or you can tune in every day to this podcast, and I tell you, do not take my words for it. I have the full dash camera that's in the Discovery. I have the body cams. I have the Discovery documents that I'm leaking on the internet. And I tell you, do not take my word for it. I'll give you evidence that shows this is a vehicle accident. Do you have a choice? Yes, you do have a choice. And that's where the conversation gets disturbing.
Prepaid call from an inmate at the Prince William Manassas jail. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $15.00. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello, Mustafa. Hello.
Hello.
We have Mustafa joining us from solitary confinement in our county jail, Prince William County Adult Detention Center here in Virginia. Mustafa has been held in a county jail with no preliminary hearing. That Commonwealth suspended the preliminary hearing. No trial for over 2 years. Solitary confinement for over 2 years. Mustafa, thank you for joining this podcast. This is not another boring podcast dedicated to you and what the judge has been doing in your case. Mustafa, hello.
What is going on here? Hello.
Mustafa, how are you today? What is going on with you?
Nothing much. I just cleaned my cell and sitting here just catching my breath. How's it going?
Doing okay. We're 47 minutes into this podcast. We talked about a lot. We dived into a lot of the details. The program for today, we were going to talk about your case. We have 2 other cases that we were going to dive into. One of the cases is a young man that was shot and killed by the police about a couple of months back. And Amy Ashworth.
Gabriel Rene Ramirez, a 22-year-old man that got shot by a SWAT police officer. Just read about it in the newspaper. And they're not pressing charges on the police officer.
Amy Ashworth is not pressing charges. She doesn't think the police did anything wrong. That poor mother that lost her son that night, who, by the way, was having a mental health crisis. Mustafa, they boxed him in. They boxed him in for 9 hours. And did not have a mental health individual that can communicate with this kid. Did not. Why not? Why did Prince William County not put a mental health person that specializes, that knows, and that's certified, that knows how to talk to this young man? Instead, they box him in, and 9 hours into it, he's on the phone, Mustafa, he's on the phone with his poor mother, and they contact Verizon, and they shut off that cell phone communication.
Wow.
And they flew a helicopter over his head, and then all of a sudden, you have a police officer that shot him in cold blood. Amy Ashworth doesn't think there's anything wrong with what the police officer did. Nothing is wrong with what that police officer did. Nothing is wrong with the way they handled that situation. You know how disturbing this is? I mean, you're talking about an 18-year-old that's having a mental health crisis. Are we not going to run into the same... The question here is, if this community runs into the same situation, are we going to get the same outcome? Yes, we are. Yes, we absolutely will. What did they do? What steps have they taken to prevent this from happening again? Nothing. According to Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, she doesn't see anything wrong with that picture. Now, I'll tell you what's more disturbing. is if you were to FOIA request the body cams from that situation, Amy Ashworth is going to block it. Amy Ashworth is going to block the FOIA from being released. Now, why can't we look into what happened that night? You want to tell, Amy Ashworth wants to tell this community that her officer did outstanding work, that they handled the situation the way they were supposed to. We know that's not true. Why can't we see the body cams? Why can't we hear the 911 calls? Under Amy Ashworth, there is no transparency. I mean, how could you prevent the situation? Forget the situation. It's already, forget the situation. How could you prevent a future situation? How could you prevent this from happening again? You can't FOIA request the body cams. You can't FOIA request the 911 calls. You can't FOIA request the documents in this case. You can't look at the details of this case. And Amy Ashworth thinks everything is good. Chief of Police Peter Newsham, he thinks his officer shooting that 18-year-old in cold blood is justified. How is it justified? And why can't the community look into it? I mean, this is disturbing. It is so terrifying living in this community. It is so terrifying living in a community where there is no accountability and there is no transparency.
So they say that Gabriel Ramirez, he pointed a gun at the police officers, and supposedly he put other individuals in the area in danger by pointing a gun. Is it even true? Or are we just taking their word for it that he had a gun? What if he didn't have a gun? Like the case with Tatiana Davis. They said that she got caught in the crossfire. She never left the vehicle. They shot that vehicle and they killed Tatiana Davis. The police killed Tatiana Davis. And we're here to believe, take their word for it, that he pointed a gun at them. That's why a SWAT officer shot him with a high-powered rifle. One shot to the upper body, and he's dead on the scene. One shot. That's how powerful that rifle is. And that's malicious. And that's unacceptable. We need transparency and accountability. According to Chief Peter Newsham, he's saying accountability. But we need to hold these officers accountable at a higher standard. They need to uphold their oath to serve and protect, not serve themselves and make themselves richer by fulfilling their pockets, by working in each other's. They're all working for each other and concealing body cameras. Amy Kaplowski Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, she just got fined $22,000 for a FOIA violation. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. 6 FOIA violations, according to Chief Judge Horan. Read the newspaper. It's right there.
It's all over Inside Nova. Yep.
For concealing, redacting emails before handing it over to the person that has a right to retrieve this data, this information for transparency. It's the Freedom of Information Act. Who is Amy Ashworth to violate the law? Is this really an elected official? Did she really get elected? Or did she buy her way into office? She's taking advantage of her position, and we need to oust her out. This is not a good representative because she's a jail board member, and she's imposing cruel and unusual punishment upon inmates in here. Man, the things that I've seen in here are horrific. Talk about, imagine, correctional officer pulling someone's hair out of their scalp from the roof, yanking it like they're pulling a lawnmower, like getting ready to start a lawnmower. That type of movement with that type of hatred.
You're talking about the situation that happened today earlier?
Horrific. This is horrific. And if you guys are not alarmed, wake up. What, are you going to wake up when you're arrested in here and or your loved one is arrested in here, and then you'll wake up. The proof is right in front of you. There is cutthroat, clear evidence right in front of you. Do not deny what the hell is going on. If you don't stand up for what's going on today, justice will never be served. Delayed justice is no justice. We can't just wait forever. This right here needs critical attention, like immediately. Immediate attention has to be like given. Like this is just wrong. People
That's a
are
good
dying.
question. Wheeler is asking, when is the next election for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth? I know there was an election, I think it was, well, Mustafa, when was it? A year ago, there was an election for the Commonwealth?
Right. And the way she won her way was the other person who was running against her, Matthew Lowry. She sent out her officers and they arrested him for a DUI.
Well, what's really disturbing is she's a Democrat, and the person that was running against her is Matt Lowry. Now, Matt Lowry ran against Amy Ashworth. Next thing you know, he's getting pulled over by police. They accused him of a DUI. Now, that man beat the charge, and they falsely arrested him, falsely charged him of a DUI. I mean, Amy Ashworth is using tactics where she's using police officer to go after her opponents. I mean, to falsify a DUI, to falsify an arrest. Why? Because the man ran against you and he wanted to fix and rectify this community. Now you're gonna mechanize and use police officer to falsify his police reports, his arrest, his charge him with a DUI. I mean, this is who we're dealing with. A Commonwealth attorney that believes she's above the law. I'll tell you what this community there is. We're gonna start a petition. If this community, if we get enough signatures by law, you can turn over the Commonwealth attorney, and that's by law. If this community, if this community signs a petition and there's enough signatures, you can go to a judge and turn over this Commonwealth attorney by law. We're gonna work on. Yeah.
She just caused $22,000 in fines because of her violation of FOIA. $22,000 is not coming out of her pocket. It's coming out of the taxpayers' dollars pocket. It's coming out of taxpayers' pockets. Everyone else have to pitch in to pay for her negligence. And we're not talking about a mistake. You know, it's fine to say, oh my God, I made a mistake. I own up to it. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Responsibility, accountability. She's never once came out and made a public comment and said that she made a mistake. She's negligently, maliciously just doing wrong. And she thinks she's right. She's an advocate for battered women. She's an advocate for she's claiming to be for anyone that's a victim of domestic violence. She's the biggest domestic violent terrorist I've ever seen in my life. This person here is a jail board member. She's overseeing everything that's happening here. And you have rape and you have people dying every single, not every day, but on the brink, on the string of death, life or death here, with her supervision, with her directive, with her direct order, with her command. This is Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth Attorney, who stands as a jail board member and a prosecutor. What the hell is this? Are we really living in a concentration camp where they are preparing us for the oven? Amy Kuklowski Ashworth? Does she think we're living in Poland? This is not a concentration camp. We're on American soil. We are Americans, and this is not the America that I know. This is wrong. She's violating the law. She needs to go back to wherever the fuck she came from. Go back to Germany. She's a Nazi. And this is not allowed. And we, as the people, cannot allow this tyrant to commit all these atrocities on our land in America. And this is the damn truth.
You know, it
Standing
is.
up today.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for the ones that can't speak for themselves.
You know, Mustafa, it is so embarrassing for this Commonwealth attorney to be all over the news. All over the news. You can look her up, and it's all over the news where she violated FOIA. I mean, what is she so terrified that this community is going to find out? Why would you redact emails, violate FOIA, not release body cams? I mean, this is so embarrassing for a Commonwealth attorney. The most important component in a community is transparency. Wheeler, if you want to add us, if you want to join, there's a group chat that we have on Facebook. Follow our Facebook. It's under Free Mustafa Al Jazari. If you follow the Facebook, we'll add you to the group chat. And every time we podcast, usually I have everybody in a group chat that we go, that everybody's there, and you can join the conversation. On that note, if anybody wants to join the group chat, reach out to or follow our Facebook under Free Mustafa Al Jazari. We'll add you to the group chat, and then you can join the conversation. On that note, what I want to do, Mustafa, I want to play the video clip from what the news said about the 18-year-old a couple of months back about that incident. This is what the news says. I wish we had media that really cover what goes on behind closed doors.
You just celebrated, was it 50th birthday?
50.
Yeah.
Started in.
The phone was put off at 11:15.
Mustafa, we're going to play what the news is talking about.
Okay.
Of course, the news never asks the hard questions.
I have to go at 11 o'clock, okay?
You have to go at 11 o'clock. What time is it right now? It
Yeah.
is. Oh, you're good. You're good. You got just about 15 minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
that speech that I just made,
Yeah.
this is my word directly message for the person that's in command, Amy Ashworth. I want her to understand that people are not okay with what she's doing. Disgusting.
If she's finding out, I'll tell you, you've got a giant voice in the community. This podcast is growing every day. And the community, I mean, to have her all over the news violating FOIA, the community is waking up to what the hell did we vote into office?
Okay, so Amy Ashworth has me locked up in here, while Glenn Ford, the rapist, the pedophile, is out there doing God knows what, a danger to the community. This person is a druggie. He uses weapons. It's all in his record. It's conviction. Weapons, drugs, and he's a 40-year-old man who states that he wakes up and a 15-year-old girl is in his bed.
You're talking about the same individual that Amy Ashworth is using as the star witness into your case that says, I didn't see anything. I wasn't there. I didn't see anything. And Amy Ashworth is using that person who's a pedophile who I have a recording with a private investigator that went out, sat down with him. He said the other star witness conspired to kill you, and this is before the vehicle accident. And can we make it look like an accident? This is before the vehicle accident. You've got two individuals. They both say we wasn't there. We didn't see anything. And it's hearsay inside of hearsay, and the Commonwealth attorney is using those individuals and say, yep, you did it on purpose. When it's on dash camera, it's a vehicle accident. You're talking about that individual?
So she allows him to freely roam in the community and allows him to be around children, around people in the community. And he stated from his own mouth, he wakes up and Kylie Clapp is 15 at the time and she is in his bed. Is that acceptable? That is disgustingly inappropriate, and Amy Ashworth is okay with that. This is the Commonwealth attorney that we're dealing with here. So many disgust, so much nastiness. We need to have a change. If there is no change, then this is going to keep going, and it just repeats itself. You have Amy Hodson who's concealing her identity as Christine Alcazar, who is talking to the lead investigator on a phone call with Robert Drum's wife. And they're all corroborating, and they're all concealing. And Chad Mason, the police officer who yanks my wire from my dash camera and states that there's no cameras, there's no audio to the camera, or whatever it is, he's telling another officer, make sure when you're dealing with me, whatever it is, make sure your body camera is off. Is this really what we're dealing with here? You have officers that are conducting misconduct in their official capacity. They're supposed to be upholding the oath, protecting and serving. And then you have the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, protecting these corrupt cops. This corruption needs to be exposed on a microscopic level. Put it all in chronological order. Put it all in an organized manner. And you guys see for yourself, based on facts. Not Sarah Sammy, the senior assistant Commonwealth attorney, who sits there and blurts out falseness, fake narratives. She says so many nasty things in court, and everyone is just nodding their head as if she's speaking facts. Baseless. No facts at all. They say that there is no audio to my dash camera. Well, the lead investigator, Robert Drum, has a conversation with the representative for the dash camera, Rexing. He has a conversation with him for 10 minutes on body camera recorded. Not once did he say anything about, let's retrieve the audio for the camera. There's no audio. Not
Wouldn't you
once.
think that would be the first thing he asked?
Exactly. Wouldn't that be the first thing that an investigator would ask for? But unfortunately for him, that proves that there is audio.
Well, Mustafa, the document in the discovery by Officer Diamonds admit that this dash camera does in fact have audio, and they have the audio on the SD card. Now, this is they've concealed that document. They've concealed that fact for over 2 years. This is exculpatory evidence, by the way. So you're telling me they're hiding exculpatory evidence? They're lying about the evidence, and now it's in the document. This dash camera does have audio.
Correctional officers beat me, maliciously abused me. And then Robert Drum, the lead investigator, calls Casey Stevens, who was my defense attorney at the time, and he asked him a specific question. How is Mustafa holding up?
This is after they beat you up, right? This is a body cam. After they beat you, correctional officer would beat you inside the jail. Yeah, and then they're sitting there conspiring, trying to put you on a competency test. So that way you don't testify in court.
Right. I wake up in a bloodbath and disarray after grieving for my loved ones that I just lost in the blink of an eye. After a tragic car accident that took away my loved one's life, and I could have lost my life. I happened to survive. They're mad because I'm alive. And I'm going to speak the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I sit here today, and I'm speaking to you as a miracle. I don't know how I'm alive, but I do know an answer that is based on my faith, and that's God. I believe in a higher power, and I believe in God. If my head would have tilted just a little bit to the right, my whole face would have been shattered. I have scars on the side of my head.
You're talking about when they beat you inside the jail? When the correctional officer beat you?
From the car accident.
Oh, the car accident. Yeah.
I was helicoptered to Fairfax Hospital, and then from there, I get arrested on April the 7th, 2023. On May 24th, 2023, I get maliciously jumped by giant gorillas, giant monsters, humongous foots, and giant hands that just stomped me out, beat me up maliciously, and just smashed my head into the wall and just abuse. I don't want to really dig deep into the details, because every time I talk about it, I really do have PTSD. This whole trauma. It's horrific. They left me naked to freeze and die in a filthy cell with the water shut off. Can you imagine the atrocities that I went through? When I talk about Amy Ashworth, I have a passion for this person to be removed from office. And if she does not get removed from office, that means the people are not waking up. Are you waiting for your family, your loved ones, to be locked up in this torture center for you to wake up? Or are you able to decipher through this evidence right in front of you? How many people does it take to die here for you to wake up? We're talking about people that's been massacred here on a fake title of they just died from a heart attack. How the fuck does an 18-year-old die from a heart attack? Juan Campos didn't die from a heart attack. When you're sitting here, your lungs, we're not metal, we're human beings. Your lungs, your brain, your body is connected in a way where it's fragile. When you have giant individuals with a closed fist punch you in the face, they can literally kill you with a closed fist punch. I'm talking about their giant foot, size 15 shoes. I wear a size 8. That's double my shoe size. They're stepping on my head, my back, my legs. I was literally crawling on the floor begging for mercy. I said, please, like, for the sake of humanity, please, let me get some toilet paper to wrap up my feet. I can't feel my legs. I'm dying, please. And I'm crying. As a man, I would never shed a tear. As a man, I stand as a strong man. But when I cry for Dorothy and Empress. I love them with my heart and soul. And if I can go back in time, I would definitely give them my life for them to survive and for me to die. And I love this life for me to live, to see my beautiful mother and say, thank you, Mom, for everything you've done for me. And I tell you right now, as a man, I stand strong, and we as the people have to stand united. My voice was shut completely. They put me in a cell, covered up my window, not allowed me to use the phone for several weeks. Not allowed me, impeded, interfered with me preparing for my case. I've been sitting in jail over manufactured, fake, probable cause. Some bullshit that an investigator made, used the fake witnesses. They made up this whole narrative about me. I'm sitting here innocently waiting for my day in court. I'm waiting for justice. I'm waiting for someone to be my representative, my voice. And if they can't do it, I will speak on my own. But the tyrants, the way they pull on me, the way they drag me, the way they beat me, they will not let me, they would not allow me to speak. I'm not allowed to talk. Now that I'm speaking, they can't do anything because all eyes on them. And God's watching, and I swear to you, in this holy month of Ramadan, as I fast every single day, I pray for one thing. I pray that the truth comes out, and I pray that the tyrants get what they deserve. They deserve jail time.
Mustafa, there's a lot of people that are here that are watching and are. I'm going to read you the chat in 2 seconds. But there's a lot of people here that support you, that stand with you, that are watching, that are not okay what goes on in this community. Shelly says we are. She said we are strong and we are all here for Mama along with your entire family. And she says, I know that's right, Mustafa. And there's a lot of comments. So,
you guys,
yeah.
I gotta tell you, you guys are the reason why I'm alive today. I could have been dead a long time ago. They were ready. They were ready to annihilate me in here. But look at me now. I'm survived because of your effort. Your effort has allowed me to live. Thank you for giving me life. Only God can give, and only God can take life. That's the truth. But God uses certain individuals in this life, on this land, to be as human, like angel-like individuals. So you guys are angels protecting and allowing this torture to come out. This has been happening for decades, since I was a teenager. Since I was a teenager, they've been doing this. I'm 35 years old today, and I've never seen this in my life. I've never seen a place like this in my life, and I've never seen this in movies. I didn't even know this actually existed.
Mustafa, Becky says we all are your family. The truth is going to set you free.
Thank you, Becky. God bless you. Thank you so much. And if there's an iota, just a small fragment under a microscope, if you go really, really deep, and if there's a not even 0.00000001 of guilt,
You have 1
Yeah.
minute remaining.
I know I'm innocent, and I really appreciate that you believe in me. I really love you guys from all my heart, and you are the reason why I'm actually able to speak today. I have a voice because of you, and
Mustafa, there's a lot of people that are here, that are listening to you, that are watching you, that support you, that is not okay with what Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is doing to you. I want to tell you on that note, you got 30 seconds. What I tell people every time we come on this podcast, you have a choice. You can believe a Commonwealth attorney that seals off everything and tell you, because she's a Commonwealth attorney, take her word for it. Or you can come here and I tell you, do not take my word for it. I will give you the body cams. I will give you the documents. I will give you the full dash camera. And you tell me this is not a vehicle accident that the Commonwealth attorney is falsifying and turning into a murder.
I tell everybody,
I love you, Mustafa.
Global Tel Link.
It's always beautiful to have Mustafa tune in from solitary confinement. This is Amy Ashworth's worst nightmare. Body cams all over the internet. Documents all over the internet. A podcast that's growing every day.
Hello. This is a
All right, while we wait on this phone, I don't know what's wrong with it. While we wait on it, we're going to watch the video clip from the media on what they said about the 18-year-old that was killed by police a couple of months back. There we go.
Hello. This is a prepaid call from
Police say after
an
hours of
inmate in
trying
the
to
Prince
resolve
William
the
Manassas
situation,
jail.
the man
To
pointed
accept
a
this
gun at
call, press
officers and is
0. To refuse the call, your current balance is $11.53. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Mustafa, hello, hello, hello.
hello.
Thank you for joining the podcast. Mustafa, this is not another boring podcast. And by the time I run through the title of this podcast, your time is going to be over. So we're not going to go over the whole entire title. Mustafa, it's always beautiful to have you tune in.
What time is it?
It is 11 o'clock.
Okay, I have to go in 5 minutes. I just want to tell everybody good night, and I want to be able to talk to my mom, tell her good night.
You know, Mustafa,
Hey,
I love you, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell everybody. You know, Mustafa, I'll tell everybody. When we're on a podcast, there's a certain way that you talk when you're on a podcast. Now, what's disturbing is everybody that's in the group chat that's been following us for a long time. They hear me talk to you like I'm on a podcast when I'm not on a podcast, and that is disturbing. And everybody laughs at it.
Yeah, man, that's hilarious. I just want to tell everybody good night. I love you, and I really appreciate everything that they're doing for me. I want to be able to tell my mom good night, and then I have to go.
Mustafa, I love you, man. Let's take a commercial break. I guess that's what you call it on a podcast when you take a break. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into the details of the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, the details of the 18-year-old that was shot and killed a couple of months back, and the other case where there was a stabbing inside the jail, who possibly, we have evidence that it's a correctional officer. We'll talk more. We'll be back. Susie, I love you. 11 o'clock. Look, when Susie reminds you of the time, okay? You know, Susie is our timer. Okay? I love you, Susie. I love you.
I love you too.
We are back. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Okay, so we're going to be covering three things on this podcast. Actually, four things on this podcast. John, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the conversation. I want to remind everybody that's tuning in, find us on Facebook under Free Mustafa Al Jazari. Once you find us, I'll add you to a group chat and you can be part of the conversation. Usually, when we have a podcast, we have everybody on here. So that way, you don't. My voice is not the only voice on the podcast, if that makes any kind of sense. So I want to do four things in this podcast. This might be a little bit stretched. It's going to be a long podcast. I'm going to try not to have it a really long podcast, but there are things that we have to cover. There's a lot of details that's coming out of our community that are not adding up. And the disturbing part about all of it is no one is talking about it. We have Inside Nova, a local newspaper. Inside Nova is not covering it. We have Prince William Times, another local newspaper. Prince William Times is not covering it. We have NBC4, Julie Carey. Julie Carey is nowhere to go. I think someone reached out to her and she says she's all the way out of traveling. And then I get a text from her that we might be covering. I mean, it's a mess. These anchors are not covering anything that's coming out of this community. Fox 5, Channel 7. What happened to Channel 7? I mean, what happened to Channel 9? WUSA 9. What happened to them? They're nowhere to be found. They seem to be repeating the police department narrative. Lori, I love you, ma'am. I appreciate that you're here. I'll tell you, they're terrified because you're here. This police department is terrified. This Commonwealth attorney is terrified because you're here. Because everybody is here watching details come out from behind closed doors that you don't hear on the media. And the question is, why are we not having a conversation? That's terrifying. We're going to listen to what the media is talking about with this 18-year-old that was shot and killed by police a couple of months back. So we're going to cover four things. We're going to take a deep dive into this case. We're going to take a deep dive into the 18-year-old that was stabbed in our county jail. And the investigation that was finalized a couple of days ago. And apparently, they're only charging 2 individuals when there is 3 individuals that did the stabbing. What happened to the third person? Who is the third individual? We'll talk about it. I want to take a deep dive into Tatiana David and then circle back to the case of Mustafa Al Jazari. It's a lot, and I'm going to do my best to stay organized. And it's not easy because it's a lot of details. All right, let's bring everybody back into the group chat. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, so the group chat is dialing while that runs in the background. Let's see, let's put that here. right, let's pull up the media saying about the 18-year-old. Tracy, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Thank you for being here. I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. New details.
All right. All right, Tracy, you're ready for this BS? It's a lot of BS.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of BS. All right.
Hello. How are you, Casey? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Casey, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
All right, so let's listen to what the media is talking about.
Story News 4 has been following all day. Prince William County Police say they shot and killed a 22-year-old man who was experiencing his parents'
22-year-old.
crisis. This all unfolded at a home on Caledonia Circle.
22-year-old that's having a mental health crisis. Keep that in the back of your head when you're listening to this.
Police say after hours of trying to resolve the situation, the man pointed a gun at officers and a sniper shot and killed him.
A sniper!
The other reporter Drew
A
Wild
sniper shot and killed him. Now, does this community like to know that this 22-year-old who was having a mental health crisis 9 hours into the situation, the police department never thought to put a mental health crisis individual on the scene? Why not, Chief of Police Peter Newsham? Why the hell not, sir? You sure get enough funding. My favorite part is when the chief of police comes on the press conference and he says, the sniper took a couple of classes to deal with an individual that deal with. Did he say the sniper or the police officers? He said the individuals that were on the scene took a couple of classes. They're not certified to deal with a mental health crisis, but they took a couple of classes. Sir, that is not the same thing. That is not the same goddamn thing. If that was your child, would you be okay with a chief of police that comes on the news that says, we didn't put a mental health crisis individual that specializes in dealing with an individual that's going through a mental health crisis, but, I've got a couple of police officers that took a couple of classes in their spare time. They're not certified. Would you be okay with that, sir? Now, what this community was terrifying is this community is finding out that this 22-year-old was on the phone with his mother when the police made the call to contact Verizon and shut off the phone communication. And then flew a helicopter over him. Now imagine a situation where you're a 22-year-old and you're having a mental health crisis and you're boxed in. You're boxed in by the police in the backyard. And you shut off the only communication that he has with his mother that can possibly, it's calming him down. They wouldn't allow the mother to go next to her 22-year-old. They wouldn't allow the family. And they shut off the only line of communication with that mother. And then you fly a helicopter over his head. And then just like that, you take his life away. With a sniper. That's sad. That's disturbing.
live from the Lake Ridge area of Woodbridge. Drew, so you've been talking with the victims' friends. What are they telling you?
Yeah, these friends tell me that they cannot believe this happened. They say they were just hanging out with the victim yesterday and everything seemed fine, although they knew that he struggled with his mental health for years. Say that he actually recently turned down some professional help for that. They say they were.
Can someone do me a favor and send me the link to the press conference for the chief of police? There's a video on YouTube somewhere. If you YouTube it, Google it, there's a press conference with Chief of Police Peter Newsham. If you type Chief of Police Peter Newsham press conference and then put the 22-year-old name, you'll find it. If someone can do me a favor and send me the link, I want everybody to tune in and see what our Chief of Police is talking about the situation. Because the more you listen, the angrier you're gonna get. I mean, at what point is there accountability? You hear a lot of justifying, but there's no accountability. And if there's no accountability, the question is, how are you going to prevent this? There's no accountability and there's no transparency. And the question is, how are you going to prevent this situation from happening again?
All day yesterday, and then when they heard what happened, they really wanted to talk with police to figure out why police shot at him. The friends tell me that once they learned about the moments that led up to the shooting, they understand why this crisis negotiation. Early this morning, police and neighbors filled a street where 22-year-old Gabe Ramirez was experiencing a mental health crisis behind a townhouse in this Lake Ridge neighborhood. Neighbors said they heard Ramirez screaming all night and into the night. All night.
Please leave. Please leave.
Leave me alone, get out of here.
Over and over again. You're scaring me. You're scaring me.
So there was obviously a lot of damage and pain that he was going through.
Police say Ramirez had a handgun and was threatening to hurt himself. Because of the gun, Prince William County's police chief says they could not send in one of the department's mental health crisis clinicians.
This is not a situation where we could have a clinician be approaching this person. It's too dangerous.
The neighbor shared this video.
You had him on the phone, and you could have used a goddamn megaphone to talk to this 22-year-old. I have a megaphone. Does the police department like to use my megaphone? I have a megaphone. Does the chief of police not know what a megaphone is? So you're telling me you're excused of not putting a mental health crisis specialist that can deal with this 22-year-old because you're too terrified for this individual, this specialist, to interact with this 22-year-old. You couldn't put someone, but there, you could have used a megaphone, sir. This Chief of Police Peter Newsham, let me introduce you to what a megaphone is. Sir, you could have used a goddamn megaphone. And that 22-year-old could have still been alive today. Instead, you put your snipers, you box him in, and you take him out with one of your snipers. I mean, are we supposed to be terrified the next time we're dealing with a loved one that's having a mental health crisis and not call the police? Because let's be honest, if they hadn't called the police, that 22-year-old would have still been alive today. He's on the phone with his mother, and he's calming down, only to have the police show up, box him in, and then take him out with a sniper. Are we not supposed to call the police the next time this happens? Don't call the police. I mean, if this is the outcome, you're going to get to a conclusion, well, goddamn, I'm not calling the police. Because if the police hadn't showed up, that 22-year-old would have still been alive today.
Early this morning, it shows Ramirez's father here on the street as weapons specialists and crisis negotiators surrounded Ramirez with their rifles perched on stands trying to protect the neighborhood.
The individual came to the fence line and he pointed the weapon at the officers with the townhouses in their backdrop, presenting a danger not only to the officers but others.
Show us the body cam. Show us the body cam where that happened. Under Amy Ashworth, you can't FOIA the body cam. You claim that he did this and that, and show us the body cam. Am I supposed to take your word for it, sir? Wait a minute. wait a minute. Your police officers are the same one that pulled a black woman out of a vehicle, rolled her around like a pretzel, took her out of the vehicle, repositioned her somewhere else, and said, "We found her outside the vehicle." May I remind you of Tatiana David, sir? You said you found her outside the vehicle, sir. So now you want me to take your word for it that this 22-year-old was such a danger that the only solution is to put a bullet in him. Show us the body cam. If you have nothing to hide, in the name of transparency, this community should be allowed to watch the body cams. But instead, Amy Ashworth is going to refuse your body cam. You refuse your FOIA. Try it out. You know how easy it is to submit a FOIA? Submit a request for all the 911 calls, body cams in discovery, and email communication for Gabe Ramirez. Reach out and submit a FOIA. I mean, this is your community. Why are you not able to access a body cam? Oh wait, let's just take the word of the chief of police. We're supposed to just believe him. Just take his word for it, he says.
And unfortunately, officers fired, and the young man lost his life.
And around 5:30, that's when I heard the gunshot. And then we thought it was still the kid yelling and pleading, but I think it was the father that was in the front of the house saying,
Neighbors say after the sound of the gunshot, the father screamed at police, pleading with them to tell them what happened. Much of what was recorded is too upsetting to share on TV.
And finally, at 6:45 a.m., officer came and told the father that his son was pronounced dead.
That father's mistake is that he called the police. If he hadn't called the police, his 22-year-old would have still been alive today. That 22-year-old was on the phone with his mother, who was winding down, calming down, only for the police to box him in, shut off that cell phone communication, reach out to Verizon, shut off that cell phone communication, block the family from talking to him, block the cell phone, box him in, and fly a goddamn helicopter over his head. I mean, you've antagonized him and boxed him in long enough. But we're not supposed to see the body cams. We're supposed to just take the word of the chief of police, Peter Newsham, and the word of the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth, who today tell you that the officer did nothing wrong.
It was really tough, especially tough to watch the father just break down and cry.
Early this afternoon, Ramirez's friends showed up. They say he was funny, loving, trustworthy, and struggled with his mental health his entire life.
He's been on the downside for probably the past couple months. He told me he's been needing to get help, and it was hard for him to do that.
Prince William County Police say they made several attempts to communicate with Ramirez through his family and friends over a cell phone, but police say every technique they tried just seemed to agitate him.
But we lost a loved one to that.
The same cell phone that they contacted Verizon and had that cell phone communication shut. Interesting.
And that will never be forgotten.
Prince William County Police Chief Pete Newsham says that he has asked a regional team of law enforcement detectives to investigate this police shooting. They will compile all of the information. They will give that information to the Prince William County prosecutor, who will determine whether or not this officer-involved shooting was justified, or if
Oh, beautiful. They're going to investigate. You can rest assured. You can rest assured that they're going to investigate themselves. They're going to investigate themselves. The same individuals that put a bullet in this 22-year-old are going to investigate themselves. And they're going to tell the Commonwealth Attorney, who has a track record of protecting police officers that engage in police misconduct, if she's going to bring charges against the police officer that engaged in this police misconduct. And what do we have today? They waited for this to die out in the community. And just about 9 months later, the Commonwealth Attorney puts out a post on Facebook. We've investigated and we found there's no wrongdoing and it's justified. Our sniper was justified in killing that 22-year-old. Now, the question is, if this was Amy Ashworth's 22-year-old, do you think we would have the same outcome? If this was Chief of Police Peter Newsham, 22-year-old, would we have the same outcome? Oh, wait a minute, it's Gabe Ramirez. It's too much for Gabe Ramirez to have a mental health crisis police officer on scene that can talk to him on a megaphone. It's too much. It's too much money that we're going to have to put a mental health crisis individual on the scene. It's too much for Gabe Ramirez. 9 hours is too much. We gotta end the situation. Can't drag this out more than 9 hours. It's too much money into a situation. There's too many police officers on the scene. Go ahead and take him out. But I bet you if it wasn't Gabe Ramirez, if it was Amy Ashworth's son, or Chief of Police Peter Newsham, 22-year-old, you can bet they would have had a mental health crisis on the scene, a goddamn megaphone, and that 22-year-old would have still been alive today. Now, Gabe Ramirez doesn't deserve the resources of our Prince William County Police Department. Just like Tatiana David. The disregard of her life. The disregard. You say it's an abductee. Why the hell did you pursue that vehicle? You disregard her life. Now, if this was Amy Ashworth's daughter, would you have pursued that vehicle knowing, according to you, it's an abductee? No, you would have monitored it from far. Not pursue in a high-speed chase. Now put 50 bullets into an abductee. Wait a minute, I thought it was an abductee. What are you doing shooting over 50 bullets into a vehicle, into an abductee vehicle? If this was Amy Ashworth's daughter, would you have shot 50 AR-15 bullet hole into that vehicle? If this was Chief of Police Peter Newsham, daughter, would we have the same outcome? Oh, wait a minute, it's a black woman. It's Tatiana David. The disregard for her life is disturbing. Now, even then, you can say, you can still have accountability. Whoever's in charge in this goddamn police department is going to have accountability. Who made that call to pursue the vehicle? State police, by law, are supposed to outweigh the risk. Outweigh the risk. Not disregard her life knowing that she's an abductee. Who made that goddamn call? Hold that police officer accountable. And then you go on, you take it further, you put 50 bullets into that vehicle. You can still say there's accountability. But to engage in a cover-up, that's a problem. You pretend that you found her body outside the vehicle. That's a problem. I mean, the same way the chief of police says that Gabe Ramirez was acting crazy, was acting wild. We had to put a bullet into him and end his life. They said the same thing about Tatiana Davids. They said we found her outside the vehicle with a gunshot wound, insinuating that her boyfriend is the one that shot her. Now, when you watch that body cam, you find out that he never came out of the vehicle. They said that he came at the police and they had to shoot him. Well, what we see on the body cam is that they dragged him from inside the vehicle and put him somewhere else. Repositioned his body the same way they repositioned Tatiana David's body. Let me pull up the body cam. I mean, Amy Ashworth goes to a judge and she gets a judge order to seal off that body cam. And she says it's an ongoing investigation. Okay. All right, Amy Ashworth. Well, it's been 2 years, ma'am. What have you done? And what is the outcome of your investigation? It takes you 5 minutes to find out that this girl is killed in cold blood by the police. I mean, you see a police officer with an AR-15 with a giant smile on his face. He's laughing. They just shot Tatiana David. They just put 50 bullets into that vehicle. And he comes up to the body cam with his AR-15. And he's laughing and smiling. What are you laughing about, sir? You just killed a black woman in cold blood. What are you laughing about? What is so goddamn funny? You see other officers like Casey Fines, the same officer that's involved in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case that lied and falsified the situation. The same way he was laughing at Mustafa, he's laughing at Tatiana David, feet away from her body that's riddled with AR-15 bullet holes. She's already dead. And he's standing there laughing. Oh, wait a minute. You're comfortable that this body cam is never going to come out. You're comfortable that you've got a Commonwealth attorney that's going to get a judge order to seal off the body cam. So you don't care what you do on that body cam. You're all standing there. Moments before there, you see that the boyfriend who they say that he shot at the police is being dragged from inside the vehicle by police. Repositioned somewhere else. You've lied about that boyfriend. How do we know he really abducted Tatiana David? That's according to you. What evidence do we have that he abducted Tatiana David? We're supposed to just take your word for it? And then they began rolling Tatiana David, this black woman, like a pretzel inside the vehicle. And then drag her from inside the vehicle, outside the vehicle, position her somewhere else, and say, we found her outside the vehicle. That's not what we're watching on body cam. But that's what you said to this community for the past 2 years. The details that's coming out of this case, we're finding out that Michael Davis never had a gun. The police made the call to pursue the vehicle. That's the wrong call. You're supposed to outweigh the risk. You say it's an abductee. Why the hell did you pursue the vehicle? And then when they pursued the vehicle, they thought, this is disturbing. The way you drag her body out of that vehicle, that's disturbing. If that was Amy Ashworth's daughter, would she have been dragged out of that vehicle like this? What do you think would have been? What do you think would have happened if that was Chief of Police Peter Nisham's daughter? Or is it just because it's Tatiana David? Oh, wait a minute, it's a black woman and no one gives a fuck. The disregard for her life. There is no investigation. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 goddamn years. What is the outcome of this investigation? And then you've got officers laughing. That's Casey Fines with Prince William County. The same officer involved in Mustafa Al-Jazari case, who started a chain reaction when he lied about Mustafa. He says, we've been watching Mustafa. How do you watch Mustafa? Why are you watching Mustafa? Oh, wait a minute. Mustafa had a lawsuit against the police department before the vehicle accident. Oh, you're not happy with him suing the police. So when a vehicle accident happened, you're going to take advantage of the vehicle accident while he's laying on the floor in a coma in front of his own vehicle. You're going to falsify the police reports. While you're laughing at it, we have the body cams where Casey Fines shows up and he's laughing. The same way he's laughing about this black woman, he's laughing at Mustafa. Oh, wait a minute, he's comfortable. The body cams are going to be sealed. In Tatiana Davis' case, we're finding out this was never an abductee. There is no gun. Michael Davis never had a gun. Never even goddamn came out of the vehicle. You see it on the body cam. He was dragged from inside the vehicle. The police made the wrong call based on a witness that did not see anything. Put in a report that she's abducted. And now you got a situation where they made the call to pursue a vehicle, even though they're not supposed to. They're supposed to outweigh the risk. They pursued the vehicle, and they thought there was a gun. Put 50 bullet into this vehicle, who they say is an abductee.
And what about the moment when you actually realize that you're not here by accident?
And then find out there is no gun. So what do? As the police, we're gonna count on our Commonwealth Amy Ashworth to seal off the body cam and say we found her outside the vehicle. And we're gonna gaslight this community that this is an ongoing investigation. So we're supposed to believe this police department that engaged in a cover-up about Gabe Ramirez? We're supposed to believe this police department when they talk about Mustafa Al-Jazari? They seal off the dash camera. They seal off the body cams. They seal off the documents, and they tell this community, we're the police department. Amy Ashworth says she's the Commonwealth attorney. Take her word for it. Believe her that this is a murder, that this is not a vehicle accident, but she's not releasing anything to you. Ain't that convenient, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth? Well, ma'am, you have a track record of lying. And what's disturbing, what's terrifying for you, is that our voice is getting bigger every day. And when we come here, we have the documents from the discovery that you sealed. We have the body cams that you sealed, and we're releasing them. We have the dash camera that you're terrified that this community is going to be watching. And we're telling this community, you don't have to take our words for it. We have the body cams, the document, and the dash camera. Go watch it, and you tell us that Commonwealth attorney is not lying. Amy Ashworth is not lying in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to cover the case of the 18-year-old that was stabbed in our county jail, and we're going to take a deep dive into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. So we covered a huge chunk in this podcast. Okay. We're going to take a break. We covered the Tatiana David. We covered the Gabe Ramirez. Those are two giant files. When we come back, we're going to talk about the stabbing in our county jail. And we're going to take a deep dive into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. All right, let's see. We have to have when we take a break, we have to have a video that's appropriate for the break. And nothing more appropriate than the voice of Casey Stevens, the attorney that stole our money, and we find him on body cams conspiring against Mustafa, and he has a relationship with the investigator that falsified the police report. At the time, this attorney reached out to us and said, whatever evidence that you have, make sure you destroy it. Otherwise, they're coming for you. The government is coming for you. This is Casey Stevens. I mean, imagine your own defense attorney, the one that took all of your money, is telling you the evidence that you have that showed the police department falsified the police report, make sure you destroy it. Otherwise, they're coming for you. Put yourself in that position. Let's take a break. Let's listen to this disturbing voice, this phone call, and let's take a short break.
If any of that is posted
By the way, this is a beautiful video because the video matches the video really complements how terrifying this phone call is. The bald man that you see in the background, that's me.
If they get disclosed,
That is me.
in a situation where I
In that crowd,
the case.
releasing everything.
If
You have the whole county coming after me, trying to silence me from talking about my goddamn brother. And I tell them, good luck. I'm going to continue to talk about my brother. I'm going to continue to talk about the files that I have. And I want to specifically thank the individuals that's supplying us with information. Apparently, there's a leak within the police department. Not everybody is okay with police misconduct. Chief of Police Peter Newsham gonna tell you the same thing that I tell Sheriff Glenn Hill before he arrested me and criminally charged me. And before I do, let me introduce myself to you, sir. I'm the guy that put the county attorney on a stretcher. We all saw her pictures coming out from court after she had a nervous breakdown in court. She tried to come after me, do the county's bidding, and it didn't work. So what did she do? She passed out in court, and they literally took her out on the stretcher. I'm the guy that put the sheriff on the stand after he arrested me and criminally charged me. I put him on the stand, and I beat the case. I beat him in his house. Then I got him to fire his own attorney. He was so upset that he got to fire his own attorney. Chief of Police Peter Newsham, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Sheriff Glenn Hill. I've got eyes and ears inside your police department. I told Sheriff Glenn Hill, I've got eyes and ears inside his courtroom and his jail. His own deputy sheriffs are supplying me with recordings and videos from inside the court, from inside the jail. And Chief of Police Peter Newsham, I don't have to tell you that, sir, you already know. You're watching body cams and documents that are sealed by Judge Carol Weimer all over the internet. Your police officers are not okay with your police misconduct. On that note, we're going to play this phone call, disturbing phone call, telling us to destroy all the evidence or the government is coming after you. And we're going to take a goddamn break.
disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems. Okay. You can't do it. That's what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed. Okay. Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case. Okay. If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems. Okay. You can't do it. That's what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it. That's what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay.
After he steals $50,000 from them, then he
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
So you're telling me that you're gonna take $55,000 from me, and then tell me to destroy whatever evidence I have against the police department? I mean, what defense attorney tell you to destroy evidence? And what's more disturbing is the body cam that I have of him conspiring against Mustafa after correctional officers go in, beat Mustafa, sexually assault Mustafa, deny Mustafa medical. He's on a body cam with the same investigator who we have evidence that he's telling us to destroy, is conspiring with the same investigator that falsified Mustafa's statement on the police report, where they're going to get a mental health person to write Mustafa off incompetent so he doesn't testify against the investigator that falsified the police reports. I want to remind this community that Mustafa has a legal fund. Mustafa's legal fund is a Cash App. You can actively donate into Mustafa's legal fund. It's Cash App. It's $, Mustafa Legal Fund. Donate into the legal fund. If you support this podcast, donate so we can continue doing what we do. This is Mustafa's voice. Mustafa's phone calls every 3 days, $50. That's not counting every 3 days. Imagine, every 3 days is $50. That's not counting the money we put for his commissary. Tell your friends about what's happening here in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. When you go to church, tell your church members that Mustafa has a legal fund. This is not easy. This is a nightmare, but we're fighting through it. And we're going to continue to fight through it. We're going up against a county. They send you a lawyer that steals your money. Now you're in a position where they took your money. I mean, this is a nightmare. What I want to dive into is the dash camera, and I want to dive into the stabbing that we had in our county jail. Amy Ashworth released documents from the investigation into the stabbing in our county jail. They say for immediate release, the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney announces the sentencing of Brian Hernandez Diaz and Jamie Garcia Mendoza in connection to a gang-related assault in the Prince William County Adult Detention Center here in Virginia. Please see the press release below for more details. So let's see the press release. Prince William County Commonwealth Attorney Amy Ashworth announces the successful prosecution of Brian Hernandez Diaz and Jamie Garcia Mendoza arising from a gang-related assault that occurred on July 24, 2023. Now, keep in mind, they only prosecuted 2 individuals. Now, that's disturbing because there were 3 individuals involved that committed the assault. 3 individuals did the stabbing in our county jail. Where is the 3rd individual? Why is there only 2 individuals that were prosecuted? It says both individuals entered guilty plea to charges of malicious wounding on September 26, 2024. So the assault happened on July 24, 2023, and those 2 individuals entered a guilty plea on September 26, 2024. That's really interesting. September. I remember I reached out to this individual that was stabbed. He was on house arrest at the time. I went out, I sat down with him, I conducted an interview, a video interview, and I supplied the FBI with that interview. That 3 individuals stabbed this inmate. Where's the 3rd individual? Now you've got CCTV video inside the jail. It's on video, and you'll hear as when I continue reading this, you'll see that they have the video, the CCTV video, and they use the CCTV video to prosecute those individuals. Where is the 3rd individual? Brian Hernandez Diaz was sentenced to 10 years in prison by the Honorable Robert P. Coleman on March 20, 2025. On March 20, 2025, Jamie Garcia Mendoza was also sentenced to 10 years. Okay, so they gave each one 10 years. By the Honorable Tracy C. Hudson. That's interesting. They had 2 judges. Upon release, both will serve probation period. Both individuals were in custody for unrelated violent felonies at the time of the instant offense. Commonwealth of Virginia versus Brian Hernandez Diaz and Jamie Garcia Mendoza. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. It just goes on. Okay. In the early morning of July 2024. Okay, so they go into the details of the incident. Abdul, how are you, brother? Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of the conversation. Follow us on Facebook. Free Mustafa Al-Jazari. I'll add you to a group chat so you can be part of the conversation. Usually when we go and have a podcast, I have a group of individuals that are part of the conversation. So follow us on Facebook, and I'll add you to the group chat. Thank you for being here. In the early morning of July 2024, on July 24, 2023, at the Prince William County Adult Detention Center, jail officers heard a cry for help coming from the cell of an inmate in Unit 13, Cell 1. They saw an individual later determined to be Jamie Garcia Mendoza Jamie Garcia Mendoza. His nickname is Sonic. So Jamie Garcia Mendoza. Runs from cell 1 to cell 2. Okay, so that's the first person that they said did the stabbing, which is his cell. Upon entering the victim's cell, they observed the victim bleeding from his face and chest and blood all over his clothing and bedding. Upon closer inspection, officers observed multiple deep laceration, puncture wounds consistent with various sharp-edged weapons. Question is, where are these inmates getting weapons from? You're telling me that this inmate had a sharp object, was able to get a sharp object? I mean, I thought you do. I thought you are inspecting for a weapon. You're not supposed to have weapons. How are inmates getting weapons? Sheriff Glen Hill. That's a good question for Sheriff Glen Hill. How are inmates getting weapons? How are they manufacturing weapons inside the jail? How did those individuals get their hand on a weapon? Notably, a small puncture wound on his chest, consistent with a nail or other narrow pointed object. This was taken to the medical facility within the jail and later brought to Inova Fairfax Hospital, where doctors treated him for serious injuries. He stated that there were multiple individuals involved in the beating, all of which stated they were going to kill him, and all of which held him down and used weapons to stab and cut him all over. Two of the individuals were Brian Hernandez Diaz and Jamie Garcia Mendoza. Was an unprovoked attack based on the assumption that the victim was affiliated with a rival gang to L.A. Maria Salvatore MS-13. Okay, so they thought he was a rival gang member, so they went in and stabbed him. Okay. Of which the defendant are associated with. Jail officers observed the bloody clothing in Hernandez Diaz's cell, along with reddened knuckles and blood on his hand. In his cell, they found a 4-inch long nail with blood on it stuck in the drain of the toilet. Okay. This is hard to read. Okay. The case was prosecuted by Senior Assistant Commonwealth Attorney Alex Brandler. Detective Casey Nelson was the case agent, and Elena Lethan from the victim witness unit assistant in the case. Okay, those individuals. Those individuals. At the time, we sat down with this inmate who was on house arrest, and we publicized the video interview that we had with him. This inmate specifically said there were 3 individuals that attacked him. Where's the 3rd individual? Now, they go on and say, it says, the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney would like to thank the Prince William County Police Department and Prince William County Adult Detention Center staff for their investigation of the case. Amy Ashworth, Commonwealth Attorney, offered the following comment about this case. In quote, the identification, arrest, and conviction of these 2 individuals was possible due to the cooperation of many witnesses, video surveillance, and solid criminal investigation work. These are the tools necessary to secure conviction, an appropriate sentence in the court system. We will continue to focus our effort, resources on prosecuting those that commit violent acts, especially gang violence. Okay. So Commonwealth Amy Ashworth says, we relied on, one of the things that she relied on is video surveillance. This inmate, who we have a video interview with, just about an hour-long video interview, specifically go into details that there are 3 individuals that entered his cell. You have video surveillance. How is it possible that you couldn't identify the 3rd individual? You've got CCTV inside your jail. You see them on your camera. Where is the 3rd individual? Why is there only 2 that's prosecuted? You can listen to the full interview on our YouTube. You can listen to it on our TikTok. If you type "not another boring podcast," you'll find our TikTok, you'll find our Facebook, you'll find our YouTube. This interview is there. It's about an hour long. And this inmate, his mother is sitting right next to him, and another individual is sitting next to him, translating. For the most part, he speaks in English, but when he's not fluent in English, so when he talks in Spanish, there is a person that translates. He goes into details and he says 3 people were there. Now, what's disturbing is there is no way that the door can open unless a correctional officer opened that door. These doors are electronically, they electronically close, electronically open. There's a button that a correctional officer will have to press for that door to be open. Now, this inmate was stabbed not in his unit. This was a coordinated attack on this inmate, who is a rival gang member. A coordinated attack. What does that mean? What does it mean when I say coordinated attack? This inmate was in one unit. A work order was put for this inmate to be transferred to another unit. Within 9 hours of this inmate transferred to another unit, his electronic door, that door cannot open manually, cannot open and close manually. That door is electronically controlled. An electronically controlled door was open to MS-13 individuals to enter that cell and stab this inmate. So you want to tell me so much details went into this attack that it's not coordinated? A work order is placed in. This inmate is transferred to another unit. Within 9 hours, individuals are able to open an electronically controlled door, manage to get weapons, and commit a targeted attack on this individual who they marked as a rival gang unit. This is what's happening in our county jail under Sheriff Glenn Hill. And they couldn't find the 3rd individual. Now, you heard in the report that they had the surveillance, they had the CCTV video. Now, I'll tell you who the 3rd person is and why they couldn't prosecute this individual. The 3rd individual, it's not an inmate, is the same correctional officer that opened the door, who's gang affiliated with MS-13. Went into that cell, a correctional officer did the stabbing in that cell, and that's why they couldn't prosecute. Where is the CCTV video? You say that you have CCTV surveillance video, and that's how you prosecuted those 2 individuals. Where is the 3rd individual? What, he mysteriously vanished into thin air? The only reason they did not prosecute that third individual because he's a correctional officer. And we're asking the Department of Justice to get to the bottom of what's going on in our county jail. This is a county jail. Sheriff Glenn Hill is not going to investigate his correctional officers. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth seals off all of it, and you can't FOIA, and you can't see any of it, and we're supposed to just take her word for it. When you watch this video interview, you hear this inmate talk about 3 individuals. Where's the third one? We're going to be putting, by the way, this video interview was given to Special Agent Lindsay Coulter with the FBI, Special Agent Samantha Adam, Special Agent Supervisor Huckle, who we find out later they had already closed out the case with the Department of Justice. So you're telling me I've got a chain of emails, a chain of evidence slips that I've been supplying the FBI with evidence. They give me slips that, thank you for supplying us information, we're investigating, but it turns out they're not investigating anything, that the Department of Justice case has been shut the whole entire time. So why did you tell me that you were investigating this inmate among other inmates, among Mustafa Al-Jazari? We're going to get to the bottom of it. We want the Department of Justice to get to the bottom of it. And this should not exist in our county jail. Shelly, how are you, ma'am? Casey, Tracy, Shelly, it's always beautiful to have you part of the conversation. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
He was in cell 1. Is that the same cell that Mustafa was in?
At one point, yes, ma'am. So at one point, he was in the same cell with Mustafa. He was transferred to another unit. In the other unit, this attack happened.
Okay. But it's funny how
Yeah.
cell 1 is where,
Yeah.
they allow attacks to happen.
In D-Pod, cell 1 is where they take you and they beat you, sexually assault you. That's what happened to Mustafa when he was taken from his unit. That video that you see is he's taken into cell 1, and that's what happened to all the inmates that get attacked. But yeah, that's D-Pod. There's a lot, Shelly. There's a lot of details that are not adding up here.
He wasn't in D-Pod, but he was in cell 1.
Yeah, so originally he was in D-Pod and then transferred into another unit. The battery is running out. Shelly, Casey, Tracy, do you guys want to say anything before we end this podcast?
So we're here for you.
Love you. I love you, ma'am.
We're here for you.
Tracy, Tracy, I love you, ma'am. I love you, ma'am. Casey, I love you. And I'll tell you, this police department, this Commonwealth attorney is terrified because you guys are here. The community is watching what's coming out from behind closed doors. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to remind everybody, what we do here on this podcast is we're not saying every police officer is doing this. We have files on specific individuals that are not protecting this community, that are engaged in police misconduct. The majority of our police are Prince William County. The majority of our police in Manassas, State Police, Manassas County, Prince William County, our deputy, sheriff deputies, our jail officer, the majority are taking care of this community. The majority every day put their life on the line and serve this community. The majority, they're from this community, they protect this community, but we have files on certain individuals and we ask that they're held accountable by law. And every day we're going to be here and we're going to talk about those files. When we come back, the battery is running out, so I wanted to stretch this. Yes, ma'am.
I text you, Charlotte asked you to give her a call.
Charlotte. I'll give her a call. Thank you. I love you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
That beautiful lady. I haven't talked to her in a while.
Yes, I'll call her.
I wanted to stretch this podcast out, but the battery is running out. When we come back, we're going to listen to the audio proceeding that's supplied to us from a deputy sheriff from inside the court. We want to thank that deputy and other deputies that are supplying us with recordings and videos from inside the court. We have a recording where the proceeding of Mustafa bond hearing, and you get to hear how prosecutor Sarah Sami is gaslighting and lying and falsifying everything in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And what's unique about this is that you have the body cams, they're all over the internet. You have the documents, they're all over the internet. And you get to hear the voice of this prosecutor and what she's saying about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And you're going to walk away watching what this prosecutor is doing inside the court. I mean, it is disturbing. So we're going to do two things. We're going to listen to the proceeding, and throughout the proceeding, we're going to play the dash camera. We're going to take a deep dive into the dash camera and other relevant pieces of evidence that show that this prosecutor is lying about everything. Bustos, thank you for being here. We're just about to close the podcast. Our cell phone is running out of battery. Bustos, I love you, ma'am. Shelly, Casey, Tracy, I want to thank everybody. Wheeler, thank you for being here. Join us on our Facebook, Free Mustafa Al-Jazari. I'll add you to the group chat. You can be part of the conversation. And I remind everybody, you have a choice. You can listen to the Commonwealth attorney who tells you she's gonna seal off the dash camera, is gonna seal off the body cam, is gonna seal off the document in the discovery, and she tells you just take her words for it because she's the Commonwealth attorney. Or you can tune in, do this podcast, and I tell you, don't take my word for it. I'll give you the body cam, I'll give you the documents in the discovery, I'll give you the dash camera, and you tell me that this Commonwealth attorney is not falsifying this whole entire case and turning a vehicle accident into a murder. Thank you for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa, through the police body cams, Judge Carol Weimer, under the microscope.